So let's jump in if you're
Yeah,
ready.
let's do it.
Okay, so just real quickly, this is a Twilight Hunters podcast, and my guest tonight is Jaden Bales.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, man. I thought it was not that long ago that we hopped on, but I guess it was almost 6 months now. When we did getting a tag
Yep,
every year, when we were talking about planning applications and all that
yep. It
stuff.
was
So
July.
yeah, so a lot's
Yeah, it was
happened since
July.
July. So I'm excited to sit down and chat with you.
So let's kind of jump into some of that stuff. What's going on with you with Hunt West?
Man, we're in the middle of application season. And instead of doing like a specific little one-off application service like a lot of folks do, I fired up a webinar series. Um, so I'm gonna have well, I do have 25 seats per webinar, and just kind of tackling all of the things guys want to know about the states that I'm most knowledgeable in. And like here pretty quick, we're going to be doing the Wyoming elk non-resident webinar, but then we roll into a bunch of these other states like Colorado and Montana and different species within that. So I'm excited, man. That's a fun new development that I did with Hunt West this year, and I'm still doing sessions with folks, and I'm still do hunt planning with folks. A lot more of that looks like e-scouting though, than specifically the application. Kind of like you and I did, where we went through like, does this look like country you want to hunt? Like, here's some places,
Right.
and like actually getting into what it looks like on the ground. So yeah, that's the latest with Hunt
And
West.
and that and that session, what we did, that was fantastic. To be honest, that was that as I go back to that frequently, and then go and do I've been adding to it on my end, and it was
That
fantastic.
makes me really happy to hear, man. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you.
Yeah, money well spent for sure. So
Well, good.
for everybody out there.
Yeah. So other than that, man, just in the middle of planning for next year too. Trying to get my own schedule figured out, and it's show season coming up, so we got a bunch of shows that are going to be happening across the West. And I'm going to try to make it to a handful of them. So,
Are you?
yeah, I'll go to Western Hunt Expo. I'll go to Sheep Show, and then I guess it's not in the West, but I'll go to the SCI show in Nashville in February. I'm going to go there to try to help out with the Argentina outfit that I'm working with. So,
Oh, okay, that makes
yep,
sense.
yep, that's the next few
Are
months,
you
man.
going to Utah?
Yep, I'll be down at the Western Hunt Expo. I'll be working the Argali booth, but then also doing some podcasts and different things. So, yeah,
Okay,
going to be down there hanging out for sure.
excellent. So what's new in the zoo with you personally?
I just, last couple months have officially moved up to Bozeman with my fiance. We're getting married in
Yeah,
July.
I heard that.
Yeah. So that's exciting. It's been fun. I've been trying to learn about like, the specifics of like the local close places. It's the same process that I work with everybody is like, go check
Hmm.
this out. But I'm just piecemealing it instead of doing it like in a week, like a 1 week blast. I'm hitting it a morning here, an evening there, and just kind of piecing things together. And um,
Okay.
I also probably go a little deeper than most folks need to for most of their hunts, because I'm out here wanting a good spot, and then a backup good spot, and then another backup good spot for a different time of year. So it's kind of fun. You just
Yeah.
always get to learn and explore something new.
So you're doing for you what you do for everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, I'm in the middle of it, which is fun. Um,
Pretty cool.
and I mean, also probably have the benefit, like, because I've done this for so many people and worked with so many different hunters. I do have intel on different places, so I'm oftentimes trying to find new ones that I haven't heard about yet.
Right, 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 right. So what else? You got a busy year getting married in July.
Yeah, man. Yep, focused on that. Outside of show season, I'm going to be going down to Argentina in April again, taking a group of folks with me this time. I was down there for the whole month of March last year to hunt red stags. So this year, yeah, just returning with one group of hunters, and basically their host for this hunt. So that's going to be super fun to get to
That's
share
cool.
that experience with everybody, and go back down and see everybody at the outfit in Argentina. So that's exciting, and I really love it. I speak a fair amount of Spanish, so it's fun for me because I can kind of jabber around with like the guides and dudes who don't speak much
Yeah,
English, and yeah, it's a good time.
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Anything? So what's the rest of the year look like?
So right now, like I said, we're like middle of application season. And do I swear, I mean, depending on how the draws shake out, this could be getting a tag for next year could be the next 8 months, like into August. I know,
I
like
know.
with the both the turnback system in Idaho and in Nevada, I've been trying to get tags in August before. Um, so it's basically like, okay, let's see what the fall shakes out to be. But somewhere in between there, you also got to make time for doing other things, with family and
Hmm.
with fiance, and hopefully try to get a turkey hunt out of it, out of the spring. And I always do quite a bit of bear hunting too. I'll go sit on a glassing
Yeah,
knob for the evening, and it's a good time.
that's some of my favorite. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm going to be in the drawback, the give back pools in Idaho this year.
Oh, are you really? Wait, why is that?
Yeah, that's I'm putting in for a moose tag, and I can't put in for a control hunt,
Oh, nice, nice.
so I can only go into the second chance draws in
And see
August.
what they've got in there.
Let's see what's left. Yep.
Man, that's interesting. I
So
didn't think about that you would still be able to get one of those, a controlled tag of some kind, through that.
yeah, you can go into the second chance draws, but it's just whatever's left. Now, fortunately for me, a lot of the stuff that I do is um, not super popular hunts, so generally there's tags available
Yeah.
because it's the weather sucks. I won't lie. December is tough.
Yeah.
So yeah,
At least most
but
Decembers. How was your guys' December this year? Ours was on a couple hunts I was doing was awfully mild.
it was mild, but it was soaking wet.
Oh, was it?
We had yeah, we got stuck in that atmospheric river that rolled through and flooded Washington State.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we had some, not the flooding they had, but we had some issues of our own.
Oh man.
Made muzzleloading hunting tough. So I had a failure in the wall tent. We figured out that at what point it stops being waterproof,
Uh-oh. That's not
and
good.
so that was yeah. We ended up in a hotel. It was rough.
uh,
So it was a rough week. I think we got 3 inches of rain, and the side of the hill was it was actually like walking in the tundra in Alaska.
that's
The water coming up through
crazy.
the ground
And most of the time it
on the side of the
most
mountain.
of the time it'd be snow, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We had snow to start
Hmm.
at like 4,500, 5,000 feet. By the time the rain rolled in, there wasn't any snow to 8,000 feet.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a year. We're finally just now getting our first meaningful snow of the year.
Jeez. Yeah, that's late. That's late for sure.
Late, late, late.
I was on the other side of the divide, and obviously, folks know about how mountain ranges work. I was on the rain shadow. So we just had
Hmm.
dirty, nasty wind coming off of those
Wind,
storms.
a
Yeah.
lot of it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, still had like we did a cow elk hunt in December with a group of a family. And that was super fun. Everybody, got an elk, and
That's good.
yeah, they were so happy, dude. I've helped a lot of guys looking for trophy mule deer and trophy like elk, and these guys were
Hmm.
some of the most appreciative and most excited about their hunt that I've ever been with. And it was just a breath of fresh air, when you get sucked
Yeah.
into how many inches something has, or like, if it's going to score really well. Um, it kind of takes away some of the
Yep.
fun that I think these guys brought to that cow elk hunt. So that was super cool.
It's a great fun. I took the one hunter I had this year was a gal from Virginia, a friend of mine's wife, and I took her out. We spent 8 solid days putting it to it in early October when it was super hot. And she finally shot her first elk, which was a cow tag in Idaho, in at the last day, the last morning.
That's awesome.
So, and everybody was excited. It was fun.
That's
It was
so
a good time.
fun. Was this and this is because I talk about something all the time about getting cow tags. Was this like otherwise a pretty good unit, like a hard to draw unit?
Not so, not this year.
Mm,
So the management, the unit that we hunted is almost 200% over objective for cow elk,
okay.
and so Fish and Game has opened it up for the next 2 years in a pretty major way to bring the bird numbers
Did
down.
they increase bull tags with that or just cow tags?
Well, what they did is they took it was a quota unit
Hmm.
for bulls so
Yeah,
it's a general tag for bulls, but so in the zone it was a quota unit and they removed the quota.
got it. Okay, that's interesting.
because their bull numbers are 80% high is what their counts show.
Jeez.
So it's high across the board. And then I'll be honest with you, I know there's some people out there that will argue with me into the next month. But having been out in that country quite a bit, there's a lot of elk. I mean, when you see I've got video of an entire mountainside moving.
Jeez, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's the golden age of elk right now, in where I'm at for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there's elk. Yeah, in Idaho, as you know, manages for opportunity,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? They don't necessarily manage for quality, which is fine. And so, you're not going to shoot 350 plus inch bulls on an annual basis. There's just not that many of them around.
Yeah. But and that's like one of the benefits of being a traveling hunter is like you can still get your opportunity hunts every year and like have a good time and
Mm-hmm.
fill the freezer. And then other year, when it comes up and you can have like a quote unquote trophy hunt, like that's great. That hunt is gonna look a little different. But
Yeah,
that's why I like the mix. I like the mix of states doing different things for sure.
I agree, and I hunt elk in Idaho specifically. Basically, I
Hmm.
hunt deer out of state just because a poorly paid public servant, and I got to spend wisely. But my elk hunting opportunities is really strictly on cow tags.
I love it, man. That's like a drum I've been beaten is like cow elk hunts can be so much fun and that you can
Mm-hmm.
still get some really good skills, especially like stalking skills or like understanding elk behavior. If you guys were doing it, if you guys are hunting cows in October, early October, you probably were seeing bulls and stuff like with those herds, right?
Yeah, they're bugling.
Yeah,
I mean, we ran into elk that were still. So she shot her elk on the 11th. I want to
yeah.
say. I have to go back and look, but I think it was the 11th, and the herd that they were with was nearly 200 total in the two groups that were on this mountain.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and the bulls were firing off at October 11th, and it was 80 degrees that day.
My goodness, that's sweet. Dude, I I think unpressured elk is yeah, unpressured elk. I guess it doesn't really matter the unit. It sure seems like the bulls will get going and then keep going like well into October. Like we have a
Mm-hmm.
hunt that we guided in. I think the opening day was the 21st of October, and we shot two herd bulls that day that were bugling their face off and rutting cows in October 20 something. So yeah,
So I don't want to turn this into a I don't want to turn this into a an ecological conversation necessarily, but um, being at my age, I remember in the 70s and the early 80s when the elk season was September, late September, early October, and by October the bulls were done
hmm,
with that. So the elk seasons were switched, where deer seasons are now early and elk seasons were later,
gotcha.
and now today, back in the day it was switched. So elk season was early and deer season was, I want to say, it's been a number of years. It's been a minute, but I want to say mid October to the 10th of October,
Or
I believe
November.
was, or the of November
Yeah.
rather, was deer season, and then elk season was late September to right up to deer season. And weather was, I, it was it was different.
Yeah. I
I don't want to say it was colder, but it was colder earlier in the 70s and the 80s for sure.
I think your experience reflects a lot of the guys that I know who were hunting in like the 80s and 90s like have seen change over time.
Mm-hmm.
Um yeah, there's an interesting yeah, I know you like mule deer, so there's an interesting thought process that when we had the boom of mule deer, it was also roughly about the same time that our meteorologists started actually taking better records of
Mm-hmm.
rainfall. And in that 20 to 40-year time frame from like the late 40s to the early to mid 80s, we had quite a bit more rainfall than they'd seen in the years previous to that. And that, in the
Yeah.
last 30 years, we've had a lot less rainfall than we saw in that time frame. So it's really interesting that, as it seems like anecdotally everyone's in agreement, you know?
That things have changed. I mean, I don't. You cannot argue that things haven't changed. What caused it? Listen, I'm not going to get into that debate
Yeah.
with anybody.
I'm
because
not a climatologist, but I'll pretend to be one on a podcast if you want.
I'm gonna ride the fence on that one because either way you decide to go on that is a losing proposition. So I'm just gonna stay right on the fence.
Yeah,
But suffice to say, things have certainly changed. I mean, I remember hunting on Halloween in several inches of snow.
yeah, yeah. And it happens
Yeah, I
every
mean,
couple of years, now. Like
sure,
it's not like it
hmm
never occurs. Um,
but this was pretty
yeah,
routine.
yeah,
And I got photographs of my dad and my grandfather before that during deer season, and they were chained up all fours and getting
yeah,
places. And this is the late 50s, early 60s into the late 60s, like old scouts,
yeah.
chained up and headed up the hill.
It's part of the conversation that I'm curious about. I'll never know because I wasn't there. But when you talk about like the heyday of mule deer, and those
Mm-hmm.
late seasons, it also like I'm wondering how much the weather and the season dates like also played a factor in what they were seeing on the ground, right? Because
Yeah.
we talked about this all the time back in uh, some places I hunt in Wyoming. It's like the old timers would talk about, yeah, we'd get snowstorms right before season. We haven't been getting them. But then a couple years ago, we got a snowstorm, and oh my goodness, it was like there was deer coming out of the woodworks. And I was
Out of
like,
the woodwork.
there wasn't a huge change in population from one year to the next, but all of a sudden it seemed like this is the year.
Well, and I think that early snows push them out of the higher country sooner.
Mm-hmm. For
And
sure.
so you're catching that those intermediate terrain places, the intermediate elevations and whatnot. And if we get some bad snow, which we've
Yep.
seen, it pushes them down lower sooner. So I think that's maybe part of it because it concentrates them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um,
And the same holds true with elk too. I mean, this year the elk herds didn't. And I hunt December, right? So typically by this 4th to the 6th, we have plenty of snow on the ground, plenty of snow in the high country, and the elk have condensed and they're down in the lower elevations. Not this year.
you're mostly
They were still pretty scattered.
you're mostly talking about the big cow herds too, or do you see bulls move down that low too?
You'll see them move lower.
But not.
The bigger bulls will stay higher,
Yeah.
but in the snow, it's in the higher snow. But I'm talking, your raghorns and your spikes and your cow herds.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's what I've seen too. And yeah,
yeah.
like this year we with that group, that family we were just talking about, the two sons, they're like in their 30s. They shoot their elk, and we had found a herd out in the sage flats, kind of like where they should be for this time of year, even though there's no snow. And then the dad was up. Dad's in his 60s, and he is from Indiana and has not prepared physically very much for this hunt. And he was like, man, can we find one of these out in the flats? I was like, we kind of ran those ones off, buddy. So sure enough, we found a herd that was halfway up the dang mountain, and he was like, no. but he
Oh God.
but
Okay.
it was one of those things where I was like, man, you got to do this hike once. Like we got enough guys, we can one trip this elk out.
One trip it out.
Yeah, sure
Yeah.
enough, he did. Which was really cool to see him work through that, and I'm sure you've seen people do that too, where they look at something and they're like, "Are you sure I can do that?" And I'm like, "We'll take it one step at a time, man." And then they get up there, and then this guy, he shot his elk, and then he was like, "Holy
Right.
crap, this is awesome! I did it."
Yeah, my friends from Virginia is kind of a similar thing. I mean, they were in shape. I mean, they prepared for the season, right? But they came from, in effect,
Sea level.
ish, right? And then we're going up and down hills, and I hunted back there in November, and I was surprised at how steep that country is. Like, holy crap, this is steep. But it's only 500-600 feet of steep,
Yeah,
whereas we have that in places that we go for 3,000 feet.
yep, yep.
And so it's just a lot bigger, right? Everything's just magnified. And so I took them out, and they're like, "Oh, we got to go up there again." Yeah, afraid so.
Yeah,
Got to do it
if you
again.
we can't
Yeah,
we can't get them
yeah,
to come down any closer.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They got to go up.
yeah.
So, um,
No, that's why I tell a lot of guys who are from the east when I'm working with them is like, I know you don't have big hills, but you got steep ones. So like, go put heavy weight on
yep,
it, and like, even if it's 300 feet or 200 feet, like go do laps on it and try to get
yeah.
that, under load.
The guy I hunted with back there, Andrew, call him Squatch. He's like 6'8", 300. He's
Big dude.
a big dude. Throws on. He's got a K2
Uh-huh.
with an XL frame, and he's funny as hell. But his straps are all the way out. He he can't tighten the straps. He's just that. He's just a big dude,
Yeah.
right? And so we throw our packs on. He takes me up this mountain, and it's about 800 feet from the bottom to the top where we got to go. And I want to say 400 feet of that was. I wish I'd had crampons.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going through. They call it alder. Is it alder? Yeah, they call it
Uh-huh.
alder. No, it wasn't alder. No, I drew a blank. Any rate, they have this plant that looks just like our chaparral buckbrush.
Okay. Yeah.
You know that evergreen chaparral
Yeah.
brush looks just like that, but it's laurel. That's what it's called.
Laurel.
But it's bigger leaved. It's just it looks identical, but it's larger leaved, and
Okay.
it's an evergreen in the winter, right? Kind of like chaparral brushes. You go through that, it's miserable. You're wading through it, and it's 12, 14 feet tall. This stuff,
Oh
and
man.
so you're on this side hill, wishing you had crampons, and and going through this laurel. You're like, does this ever end?
Dude, that sounds like some Alaska stuff.
It was yeah, kind of minus the rain,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah, kind of.
That's funny.
Uh, yeah, it was amazing. So uh, I brought him back out here and like, oh, that looks like laurel. I'm like, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Sabloro can be, yeah. At least, like
It's
you said,
just giant.
it didn't sound too crazy wet over there because I know sometimes
No,
it can get dirty, nasty.
yeah, it was pretty dry the whole time we were there. We had a little bit, but it didn't amount to much. So
Mhm.
it was windy, like windy for 6 days.
Oof.
Yeah, but
I don't know about you, but there are very few conditions that I dislike hunting in more than wind.
wind,
Yeah,
mm,
wind is just
wind.
annoying. At least when it's
Yeah,
foggy or snowy or rainy, at least you're like, okay, I'm just waiting it out, and you can figure out a way to get comfortable. But when it's just windy, you're like, the animals ain't moving.
hmm
This sucks to be
nothing
in.
wants to
Yeah,
move. Right,
yeah,
nothing wants to move, and everything's in the brush pretty tight, and it's just terrible. So it made conditions were tough. I ended up not tagging out on that hunt. I take that back. I tagged out on the doe permits, but
nice.
the buck permit that was a other story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm excited to I'm going back to Michigan next year. Got a good friend that lives there, and I missed this year, but I was there last. And he's like, dude, you got to come back out because um, I went last year, and the Bucks have my number so far.
yeah,
So it's tough hunting, man. And I had like doe tags like you're talking about. And but what he had told me, I don't know what time of year we were there, but we were like right before the rifle season, so right in the good sweet spot of the rut. And he was like, yeah, but if you kill a doe, you might screw up the buck that's following her. And I was like, oh, well, I can't do that. And so I
yeah.
had all these
That's
doe opportunities, and I talked myself out of them. And then I went home empty-handed. And was like, crap, dude, like you should have shot a doe. Yeah,
yeah. I had a buddy that said basically we're hunting this piece of property that was his little ranch, and he's like, I have plenty of does. Shoot, if you shoot, more than one, go ahead. And I shot one, went checked to make sure it was down, got it kind of piled up behind a tree and some brush, and went back and same place I'd been sitting. Shot another one an hour later.
that's awesome.
So I was like, well, that's cool. So I brought back 60, 70, 72 pounds of meat with me, which is
That's great.
that's what it's about anyway. So
Yeah, absolutely.
how was 2025?
Man, I've said this, with conversations with my friends and family. I can't look back at 2025 and expect much of a better fall. It was really good. If you guys wants to nitpick, you could, but like we had really good success, and more importantly, like I had some really fun hunts with like friends and family as well, and
Yeah.
multiple people. Like I think we had one, two, three, four trips where me and my friends doubled. Like both filled our tags on the
Holy
same trip.
smokes.
Yeah, it was really fun. So I'm gonna probably look back. I would imagine at 2025 as just very fondly for just memories made with friends and family. So that's really cool. And on top of that, shot some really nice animals. And yeah, that's
Yeah,
hard
you
to
shot a
say.
good buck.
He was a very nice, yeah. He's the kind of
Yeah.
deer that most people are like, well, you should hang it up because I don't think you're going to get a bigger one than that. And I'm like, I like,
Robbie Denny would disagree.
yeah, exactly. I did. I talked to Robbie about this, and he was like, funny enough, though, Robbie's biggest deer he's ever killed was the first big one that he killed. And he's like, hey, man, if history repeats itself, he's like, you might not get a bigger one, but you'll find other big ones, you know? And like,
You'll find other ones.
yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's something that's really cool about just like the idea that, this is a beautiful deer. He's like big, heavy, long forked, et cetera, et cetera. But you're going to find deer of different configurations too. I'm like,
Mhm.
well, he's doesn't quite have 40 inches of mass. He doesn't quite hit the 30-inch mark wide. He doesn't have 20-inch too. Like there's bucks that'll fit some of
Yeah.
these other cool things that make them big. And I'm looking forward to just keeping after it. And it's
One of
it's
the
fun.
one of the things I saw or I talked to some guys about, I don't know if you've heard of this or not, but some guys, instead of just your traditional Boone and Crockett or Pope and Young scores, this, that, and the other, they're doing what they call a T score.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
So my where my brother lives and where I grew up in Eastern Oregon, a lot of those guys like to do T scores. Yeah, and they'll be like 40 T is a shooter buck is what they go for. Um,
Yeah. And I'm like, that's kind of cool because you're not worried about deductions, you're not worried about this or that or the other. You're just looking off of that
yeah, and
and what that is,
if you're hunting any sort
and
of
it's
thick
kind of
country,
fun.
yeah. If you're hunting any sort of
Yeah.
thick country and you got to make quicker decisions, it's like, does he T? Yep. All right, let's take him. And I think it's also like, granted, you could get a buck that, like we shot with the outfit I was working for, we shot our client shot a 30-inch buck that was probably a 4.5-year-old deer, like which is there's nothing wrong with that, but we walked up to him and was like, holy crap, this thing is wide, but he was pencil thin, and we were like, oh, we maybe got him, we might have shot a baby giant. Oops. you know,
Eh,
the guy was happy,
but
we were happy, it was all good, and that
it,
deer was a beautiful deer.
if
So
that's right, whole thing. It's basically it's your definition of trophy is yours,
yep,
right? So and everybody's is a little bit different. Somebody's happy with it. What the hell, man?
yeah,
I shot in Utah with a muzzleloader. The only time I've ever been there to hunt, I shot a really nice buck, and he's a 3-point, but he's a real weak three or just a gigantic fork.
that's cool. See, I want
I'm
one like that. They look so
and
cool.
his mass is, I mean, he's huge. His his bases are, I can't put my hand around it,
That's so cool.
and he's got splits in both eye guards and both brow tines.
Wow. Oh, so he's like a big fork. I mean, small three, but big fork, and he's got the eye guards.
Yeah, and his eye guards are tall and they're split, and then he's got rooster spurs on the backs of each one,
That's cool.
and he's got back thirds, which is weird,
Yeah,
whatever. But you know they're like fork and horn forks.
that's cool.
Yeah. But he's every bit as wide and tall as my big buck.
I think,
So he's like 28 inches wide on a fork and horn.
yeah, that's freaking sweet.
Well, and he's a 3-point, but I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and he's old. He aged at 9 and a
Oh, no
half, and
kidding.
his fronts come around like a whitetail. The front are out and around just like a big whitetail would be.
Dude, you can't ask for
He's
better than
neat.
that. Yeah. 9-year-old
He's a neat
buck with
buck.
big old frame. Like, oh man, that's great.
Big, heavy, carried his mass all the way out. I was so pumped with that deer. I couldn't even.
Yeah.
I had to sit and savor that moment for a bit after I shot that buck.
Oh, I
So
bet, man. Yeah, and the other thing is, I think a lot of times we get caught up in these conversations between people who've been hunting for a long time or whatever, and um, about looking for a bigger one of whatever, whether it's elk or deer. And
right.
I am so concerned that we're telling our newer hunters and our kind of like novices that they shouldn't be getting some repetitions, and I'm like, man,
Mm-mm.
you got to just
You
go
got
get some stuff too.
I tell this to my kids. I tell this to anybody who will listen. You have to kill to be a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, it's plainly spoken in plain language, whatever. But it's the truth. You have to have the reps in.
Yeah,
I like cow
yeah,
permits. I there's a couple of hunts in Idaho that are 2-point only for the general
yeah,
season. I love those for kids
yeah,
because if it's a fork and horn, that's legal. If it's not a fork and horn, it's not legal.
Mm-hmm.
So kids get some repetitions, that kind of thing. So I'm with you on that. I think we're breeding we're making something a competition that's really not
Mm-hmm.
a competition with some of this stuff. And I've gotten away. I mean, everybody wants to shoot a big buck. Don't get me wrong, or a big bull, whatever, right? But that should be the, I don't want to call it the one off, but that should be.
It's kind of like the
There's a
pinnacle.
time in life for that.
Yeah, the reason I don't know if I'm putting words in your mouth, but like the reason why I like doing that is because it challenges you and it makes you be out there longer and it makes you work
Right.
harder. Like very rarely do those things come very easily. You know, I'm trying to do it on purpose,
No.
especially when you're trying to do it on purpose.
Right.
You know.
Right. But I guess the thing of it is, if you find something that tickles your fancy, then hammer it down.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
And I think everybody's gotten to this point where they have where they have X, and if it doesn't meet X, I'm out. I, I don't know, man. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Teach their own, but you've got to get some reps and some different things, and it's about the experience too. So
Yeah. Dude, I've got a really great story, and this is just one of the many really good hunts we had this fall. But I guided a guy in this deer unit in Wyoming last year, and it took him 17 years to draw this tag. Deer numbers are pretty low, but there's some big ones, some real big ones out there. And we're hunting it, and the first day out we went, and there was like a 28-inch, 29-inch, like he was wide, big 3x4,
mm-hmm.
heavy. And it's the first I think it's the first evening we're out there, and I go, hey man, like this is a good buck. You know you're probably gonna not find one like this, but I'm happy to hunt with you hard to find it because just love doing this stuff. And he's like,
Right.
dude, so do I. He goes, I've waited 17 years to draw this tag. I don't need to just fill it in the first 24 hours. I was like,
Yep.
are you gonna be okay with not getting a buck like that if that's what we choose? He's like, yep, no problem. And dude, we ground it out for 5 more days. Windy, no precip, like it was just brutal. And
Brutal.
we saw some bucks pretty much every day. I think we saw bucks every day, but nothing quite as nice as that one. And he ended up shooting it was a nice 3x4, 26 inches
But
wide.
certainly not the buck.
Wasn't the first
Yeah.
one that we'd see. It wasn't like that first one we'd seen. And
Mm-hmm.
the cool thing was we're laying there like 260 yards from this buck. We'd crawled up and got on this little knob, and he was bedded in the sagebrush. And we're looking at him, and I'm like, hey man, this is what he is. Like, if you want to go into overtime, because there was a couple days left of season, and I was like, we can go into overtime and like keep hunting. And he just kind of looks at me. He goes, man, we've had such a good hunt. And he's like, I'd love to take home some deer meat, and that's a nice buck. Like, let's take
That's
him.
cool.
And I was like,
Yeah, that's
all
cool.
about it, man. That deer stood up and
Rock and roll, man.
yeah, that deer stood up. He hammered him, and then we were happy that we had milked that hunt for all she was worth. That was like midday on his last day. It was awesome.
Yeah. See, and that's cool as hell. That's a great. I like that to hear
Mm-hmm.
that story.
Yeah,
So
those are the kinds of guys, man. Like, especially guiding, I will hunt with them on whatever tag they want to hunt on because that's like
mm-hmm.
that's just a fun mindset to be around.
So what went well this year?
Man, I was thinking about this because you kind of queued up some thoughts beforehand, and I think one of the most interesting things about what went well was a common theme that I feel like we keep running into, or I keep running into, is like if you put in the hard work in the front end, like the hunt definitely comes together pretty
Agreed.
easily, like comparatively.
Mm-hmm.
So, like with all of our Wyoming hunts, we, like the deer hunt where I shot that nice one, and my buddy, he shot a beautiful buck too. It was, he wasn't a giant, but certainly a nice, like classic buck that anybody would want to take home.
Mm-hmm.
And we hiked 3 miles and 3,000 vertical to get up to this spot with our backpacks on. And, his buck died on the backside of the basin, like 400 foot down an avalanche chute. And took us 2 days to pack them out. Like it was a full meal deal, and it was a hard physical hunt, but also like we only spent a few hours hunting comparatively. Same with the elk hunt. My friend Cody and I went into the backcountry with llamas, and he shot his bull at like 9:30 on opening morning. We spent the next 2 days packing out, and then I hiked in a few miles. Like I left in 2 hours before daylight and hiked way back in there, and shot a bull that morning. So we really only hunted 2 mornings, but spent 3 days packing meat. It was just
Right.
like putting the work on the front end really was big for us on those. And I think there's a lot of ways to do it. Like you don't have to work super hard every time to get an animal, but gosh, when you work real hard on the front end, it makes the hunt a lot easier.
A lot better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you think about it too, and some of those hunts, the elk hunt that with the deer hunt with your buddy, even though it happened pretty quick as far as your air quote season went,
Yeah.
you guys still hunted 5 or 6 days. I mean, you weren't hunting, but you're still on the mountain doing what we do, packing meat out.
Yep.
It's again the whole experience, right?
Eating mountain house and putting on miles,
Mm-hmm.
like hanging out in the backcountry. Like, yeah, it's like you
Right.
said, it's that whole
It's an experience.
experience.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, we had that muzzleloader hunt in December, and I ended up having to go home. And, and I told him, I said, if you shoot something, let me know. I'm still off work. I'll give you a hand. So the next, I got home, like 2.5 hour, 3 hour ride. I got home. He calls me first thing the next morning, elk down, baby. So I
Oh,
turned around, loaded my pack and my stuff, and I drove right back down there and helped him pack that elk
oh
out. So
man, shoot, that's a good friend right there.
yeah.
Hey,
Well,
I should put
it's
you on my.
again, it's about the experience.
Yeah, I should put you on my speed dial.
I'll come. I'm on my way. I'm retired in 25
Yeah,
days.
that's right. That's right.
so,
Oh, I love it.
so what was your areas for opportunity? What sucked?
So I maybe did this on not maybe I did this on purpose. I set a goal out to be a better timber and thick country like deer hunter.
Oh,
And so this year, one thing I kept hoping for was some more snow so that I could track in the snow. I
mm-hmm.
did get one day of really good tracking in, but otherwise I was kind of still hunting some timber and
Yeah.
just thick, nasty slopes. And I'd like to get better at that. And I think that's an example of type of hunting where it just takes time to get real good at it. And maybe that's the same case with open hunting, open country, and glassing. But that's kind of been my bread and butter, and I'm trying to work on this other skill set.
Yeah.
Um,
Still hunting is a thing.
Dude, it's tough. It's real tough. So I'd like to get
Yeah.
better at that.
The stuck in the rut guys do quite a bit of that because they're hunting North Idaho and it's thick country and they shoot good bucks all the time, but they're doing a lot of spot and stalk and tracking.
Yeah, I love watching their stuff, man, and that's partly,
I do
yeah,
too.
it's probably partially the inspiration for doing it this way. But yeah, they do a very good job, and I'm like every
Very
video
good.
they
Yeah.
show, I try to like pick up
Mm-hmm.
something about it. And the other thing of it that I've noticed with those guys is when you even if you don't kill something, like you're constantly building a knowledge base to
Yep.
be able to go back on. And like this one spot I went to, it was I thought I could hike 3 miles an hour in the snow to get up to this ridge line, and I was more like a mile and
That's
it
ambitious.
was more like a mile and a half an hour. Yeah, I didn't account for the deep snow. Um, yeah, man, I got up there and I was like, I ended up still hunting the last bit of it, so I slowed down quite a bit. And I got up there and it was covered in deer tracks, and I was just like, son of a gun! If I was
Son
here
of a gun.
at first light,
2 hours earlier.
yeah. And that was good, right? Like that's such a good learning experience. And then I also tracked those deer down, and I had something going on that afternoon. I didn't end up like I'd follow these deer down off into this hellhole off the backside, and I kept going like that. If I get sucked down here, I'm gonna be here all day. I got something this evening. Like it's gonna,
Yeah.
you know, 3 mile hike and then drop down a mile and 1,000 feet off the backside. I was just like, boy, this is gonna be an investment. And but now I know about that spot. Like the deer probably right there on top, right at first light, and you got to be there a little earlier.
Yeah, find a spot and hang out.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
all right.
That's good stuff though. And
Yeah,
another in the same opportunity vein, I've been texting you about this and talk briefly, but I'd really like to get better with my muzzleloader, man. I've been shooting it a lot, like, well, basically every time I've gone out, I shoot it at the end of the day at a target trying to make sure I hit well, and
right.
that part's going well, but keeping powder dry and doing all those things appropriately has been a challenge.
It's a challenge, and it's worse when there's a lot of moisture. I mean, it makes it hard,
Mm-hmm.
but it's doable. And we were talking a little bit earlier, but I'm really considering putting on some sort of a class,
Yeah.
some sort of a weekend gathering, or something kind of specific to that. I don't know what kind of interest I would get, but I'm fairly centrally located, being in the Clearwater off Lolo Pass. So
Yeah. Hey, you probably get guys from
um,
Montana, guys from Washington and Idaho, like, and probably some
yeah,
Oregon.
some Oregon guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's cool because, like, the muzzleloader, not only does it open up some additional opportunity, but it just is so much the heritage of the West. It's
nostalgic.
very nostalgic. Yeah. That
Yeah,
you feel like, I mean, at least I did it walking around with my old reproduction Hawkins. I just felt like I was stepping back in time, even though I didn't
in
even
time.
shoot anything with it.
Yeah, some of the reason I do it too is because my background is in precision rifle.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my career I spent behind a precision rifle in a work environment. I shot a lot. I taught at law enforcement and military at a fairly high level, to at least in Idaho and in the surrounding. And so rifle hunting is fun. Don't get me wrong. It just doesn't have the challenge that it once had. It really, there isn't much I can't do with a precision rifle. Not patting myself on the back by any means, but I just got a lot of time,
Yeah.
and a lot of time and a lot of training and a lot of teaching. So I've been hunting with a muzzleloader for a couple of decades now to add some of that back in for myself. And with my eyesight, I can't archery hunt. So I have I can't see anything up close, so I can't see the pins
Oh man.
to shoot. So I took up muzzleloader hunting and as that replacement, and so basically I still have to get close,
Yeah.
you know, compared to a rifle. Not necessarily close compared to a bow, but close-ish compared to a bow.
Yeah.
And you have to be stealthy, and you have to put all that stuff into play. And when you're dealing with an elk hunt in December with a herd of 30, 40, 50, 60 animals, you've got 120 sets of eyeballs looking at you.
Yeah. It's hard.
So it adds some challenge to it, right? Which is what I was looking for, and that's why I do it. Plus, there are some not better. There are some interesting opportunities out there,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some interesting times of year to hunt. So Utah, for example, I really like their deer season with the black powder.
That late
So it's
September type deal. Yeah.
and that first couple of days of October, it was so much fun. The weather was pretty decent, you know. It wasn't cold, but it wasn't super hot. I was up at like 9,000 feet. It was a lot of fun. It was actually a really great experience.
Yeah. That's fun.
Whereas conversely, I hunted Montana, and I went to Montana in November and had 50, 60 mile an hour winds and temperatures below zero with the wind chill.
Yeah. Yeah. It's brutal.
Right, and trying to wall tent that on Peck Reservoir, right? I mean,
Yeah.
let's go.
That is real cold. Yeah.
So
That's
there's some interesting things that there's some interesting times of year to be out there with those weapons. So
yeah. And I love the hunters who come to me who are like, "Hey, I am proficient out to like 300 yards with my rifle." That family
mhm.
of cow hunters, that was basically those guys. Um, and they give me that, especially as a guide, they give me that kind of mark that I have to be in or under.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite stocks of the year. I didn't do as much bow hunting this year as I normally do, and so this was like my favorite stock of the year, we got to like 50 yards of the closest elk in this herd of 150, and the furthest elk, maybe 200, 220 yards away. And he ended up shooting his cow at like 70 yards with his high powered rifle. And I
That's
was just
so
like,
great.
yes, like
So great.
that was a better feeling than I've ever had shooting anything where I had to dial up or, make an elevation windage call or whatever, like that feeling was so fun. Because it was just boom, flop. And it was just like, yep,
Yeah.
that one hit. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a stock with that buddy of mine that I went back. I helped him pack his elk out. He shot that elk at 50 yards
That's sweet.
on an open hillside.
It is.
He used terrain and some brush and stuff to mask his stock and put it together. But the day before, we did a stock in the rain, and the wind had been blowing consistently east to west all day as the storm blew in.
Mhm.
I mean, all day, 15 plus mile an hour all day long. Used the wind to our advantage, got to within about 50 yards, and we were using the terrain. And for like 3 minutes, the wind switched directions.
Oh no.
And they boogied.
Dude, I bet it.
When we'd have popped up over the hill, we'd have been 35 yards from these elk.
Oh my goodness. That's
Yeah,
so fun though. Um,
it was a great time. So,
yeah.
but that's again that building block stuff you learn, right? But the wind change, who would have forecasted that? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I will say when it comes to like conditions, we were talking about how wind can really suck if it's super
Mm-hmm.
windy. The only benefit is if you do find the animals like that you're looking for, at least you know what
Yeah,
direction it's coming out of. Um,
yeah. I felt like the hunting god spanked us for whatever reason with that change of wind shift for a brief time. Because as soon as we walked off that mount, we got our walk of shame
yeah.
up the hill. We got back to the ridge. Wind started blowing east to west again our entire way back to
Oh
the
my
truck.
goodness. Of course.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's what it is, I guess.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
So I was in the gym working out the other day, and on comes a familiar voice on the Rockcast.
Yeah, that'd be me.
And that would be you. I started blowing your phone up. I think it might have even been Christmas Day for all I know, but I know it was right around that time.
Yep. Yep. So I just took over as one of the co-hosts on the Rockcast. I've Robbie is going to be still Robbie Denning is still going to be part of the show every few episodes. But he was like, "Man, I just got to take some stuff off my plate," and he reached out to me. Back, I don't know if you remember this, but Jordan Budd used to host the Rockcast. Do you remember that?
Yes, I love Jordan, dude. Oh yeah, for
He's
sure,
great.
on 100%. Yes.
Um,
Yep.
and when they did that, they kind of had said something on their podcast, hey, we might be looking for a co-host or whatever. And at that time, I threw my name in the ring to be like, hey, I might be willing to help you out. And then they ended up just being like, I think we can do this in house. So it was cool. Robbie had remembered from like 3 years prior or whatever, me
Right.
reaching out and being like, yeah, man, like, do you still want to do this? And it's cool. We're gonna still do pretty heavy on the science, biology, conservation front because that's been a theme that he's done, and it actually
Mm-hmm.
it's a thing. I used to do this podcast series. It was just like the mule deer biology series, and I love doing those episodes. So we're gonna bring that back. We started off with like an elk um, biology podcast and an elk management podcast, and that was super fun. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of keep that train rolling. Robbie also was like, "Man, you're a little more well-rounded than I am." He's like, "I just hunt deer," and uh, I was like, "Yeah, I could bring some other flavors to the table." So, like we just had a podcast release all about spring bear hunting. So that's a
Yeah,
fun little adventure.
I'm a big fan. So just heads up. You came on. I was like, oh, I know that voice.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that and I will say that Spring Bear podcast got me really excited for what's coming up this year. Like we were talking about, spent 8 years in Wyoming, and I learned some good spring bear spots in Wyoming. But even my best spring bear spots, you're seeing a bear every 7 days or something.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that makes it tough. Yeah,
yeah, and I think there's some great opportunity up in this neck of the woods.
Montana.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's kind of like where we're at in Idaho. That bear hunting's pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny because I was sitting on a glassing knob for deer in the mountains this year, and looked down and I saw like where there was kind of a bear denny rocky spot, and then I saw some bear crap up on the ridge that was old, and I was like, I'm remembering
Hmm.
this, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, noted.
Yeah, they'll be back. Yeah,
Exactly.
no, exactly. Yeah.
So most
Well,
most of the time, guys treat spring bear hunting as their scouting for the fall, and I treated my fall hunting for a scouting for spring bear this year. So
for spring bear. Yeah, I'm hoping. Knock on wood. I got to have a little of some surgery in February, so I should be, according to the surgeon, back on the mountain by May.
cool. Yeah, and your guys' season
So
goes pretty late, right?
yeah, some of the where I'm my house where I'm living right now, the season goes through June.
Yeah, that's good. You should get some days out, even if it's just testing out the your new
Yeah, I
wheels.
gotta have I gotta have my Achilles reattached to my bone,
Oof.
so it's gonna be some no fun for a little bit, but
Uh,
I,
You're gonna do the full physical therapy reboot and everything.
I'll be in a cast for 6 weeks, and then I'll be in a boot for 6 weeks. And the physical therapy side of it, I have a buddy that's been on the podcast actually who does that, and he's also does my workout programming. So he's gonna he's already talked to the doc about what needs to happen. So he's already getting me all dialed in. So
That's awesome.
I'm self motivated. So I'll do all my PT at home and get it done and ready to go. I'll be dialed because I want to be back on the hill sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you're gonna start your retirement off with being lamed up, man. That's not what you want.
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of it was a known commodity, so I've been having to get this done for a while, and I'll be honest, this injury kind of precipitated my departure when I'm departing, so I can get it fixed, and the city's working with me to make sure it's taken care of. So I'm staying through a certain date through the 1st of February, and I'll still have insurance through part of that time, so
That's good.
it's all good.
That's good, man.
Yeah, the city I work for has been very very kind.
Good.
So
I'm glad to hear it.
yeah, yeah.
Well, good.
So 2026.
Yeah, 2026. Just personally, man, I hint
You got a lot going on for sure.
I got a fair amount going on, but one of the things that I'm really excited about is dude, I love a good archery mule deer hunt. And this last year, I'm trying to think if I went out at all for I kind of went out one day, but pretty much like didn't do any archery mule deer hunting. So I've got at least two on the schedule as long as the draw gods are uh, going to shine on us. And one of my best friends, one of my best buddies for archery deer hunting, and I are going to do a 10-day rip, and I'm really
Oh,
excited for that. Yeah,
wow, nice.
yeah, man.
That's gonna be a good time.
That's gonna be in Oregon too. I haven't been back to my home state to hunt deer for a long time. So I'm really looking forward to that. And honestly, like, when it comes down to making plans for the fall, like I juggle a lot of what my clients draw versus, for the guiding side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And, end up really kind of falling back on general tags for filling in the gaps. So usually the
Yep.
general tags don't end up making it to the top of my plans. But I'm excited to learn a bunch here in Montana too. So yeah.
Yeah, and Oregon's changing a bunch of things too.
Yeah, that's like the
They're good.
biggest. That's the biggest unknown. Is it's a full new year of new hunting units, and we should be able to draw with the points that I'm splitting with him. If the old unit draw was similar to next year, but man, like I said,
It's all big question
it's
mark,
a
man.
gamble. Yeah,
I've seen the map, and I was like, ooh, okay.
yeah. Have you spent any time hunting over there?
No. The short answer is no. But I lived across the Snake River
Mm-hmm.
from Hell's Canyon, Idaho side of Hell's Canyon, and I've always had some fascination with the Oregon side, and so I actually have a fair amount of points in Oregon. I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do. So
We'll talk offline, and
okay,
I've
all
got
right,
some ideas. I actually
all right.
don't think it's not as bad of a state as a lot of people have made it out to be. It just is maybe not as good of a state for the points that you're gotta put into it, but the hunts that you can draw, I think there's some good opportunity for sure.
I kind of think so too. Just having looked from the Idaho side onto the Oregon side before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, final thoughts. What you got?
Um, Man, I kind of led with it early, but the big thing like about 26 and just looking back on this 25 season too is like the more preparation and like the more work you do up front on these hunts, the better it pays off in the end, you know. And I just was posting about it recently about how I'm like, okay, I got some new goals for my fitness, and I just got some new arrows in the mail because my cow moose ate a few. Um, so I gotta get back on the grind and getting good with my bow, and I want to,
Yeah,
you know, I was telling you before the podcast, I got to get my ball of a ball of lead pulled out of my muzzleloader here, and so I can keep practicing with that. And those are the things about hunting that I think are super fun. Is there's never you don't ever win. You're never done. You know, there's always something new to learn,
right.
and that's super exciting to me.
Yeah, man, for sure. So, Hunt West, where can they find you?
Yeah, if you want to learn like about all the different things, whether it's webinars or services or podcasts or email list or whatever, it's huntwestplanning.com. You can go scroll around on there and learn a bunch. Otherwise, people can always just shoot me an email, jaden@huntwest.net. So, yeah, those are the
And
best ways
you're,
to find out.
I can add that to the show notes if you like to.
That'd be great. Thank you.
That'd be awesome. Okay. I think that about covers it, buddy. We've been in on just over an hour.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you.
So
Keep up the good work with this podcast. And man, I'm excited. I'm excited for this possible muzzleloader get together. I might have to make a trip over there if you make it happen. So
I'll keep you posted on it. I just got to find a venue, and if I do that, then I think we're gonna move. We're gonna do it. So
nice. Well, that'd be awesome. We'll trade podcasts, have you on, and maybe get some more folks going up. So
yeah,
I appreciate
sounds great, buddy.
appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's Bud.
Could live out here for the rest of my days.